It's time for the Las Vegas Sportsline, brought to you by CG Technology Sportsbook.
Money won is twice as sweet as money earned.
Presented by WagerTalk.com.
It is the Thursday edition of the Las Vegas Sportsline. It is brought to you by CG Technology Sportsbooks. Will Bernanke will be joining us in a little bit. The Moneyline Guy, at the Moneyline Guy, I should say, on Twitter. And we always have a good conversation with Will. We'll go behind the counter on tonight's games. And there we go. Trying to get my hands to work properly today. I don't know why they're not. I'll check that during the break. In the meantime, I'll make do as is. Ralph Michaels is here. I'm Dave Cokin. Ari Plattner is producing the program. First things first, let's get to the scoreboard, because today was a real getaway day in baseball with a lot of day games, only 2 night games, and 2 games in progress right now. The finals, the marvelous Marlins, they do it again. 5 runs in the 9th, a grand slam by Garrett Cooper. Tough luck for Matt Boyd. Tough luck for Shane Green in a sense, because they were unearned runs. But the Marlins have won 6 games in a row. The Tigers have lost, we'll call it 9.5 in a row, because they've lost 9, but there's also a 10th game that was suspended in the 7th inning against Oakland, and they're losing that as well. Whenever they're making that up, I'm not sure. But so they're on like a 9.5 game losing streak right now. Not going real well for Detroit.
Yeah, it's not. You know, we talked about it on First Pitch, and when you're hitting struggling and you're pitching struggling, it's not a good combination.
No. Red Sox got, I would put this on the unexpected category today. Ryan Weber makes his first start of the year, I think just the second of his career, and he puts together a terrific outing, topping out at 89 miles an hour. Not a hard thrower, but if you put the ball where you want, good things will happen. And the Red Sox, despite not having J.D. Martinez for another game with some back issues, they stomped all over the Blue Jays 8-2. And that's really a big game for Boston in a sense that they didn't have to extend the bullpen and got a win, saving the bullpen arms for what is a very big weekend series at Houston.
Yeah, I mean, off to a slow start. It was 1-1 through 5, and then, you know, they exploded. 15 hits in the game, scoring 2-1, 1 and 3 the last 4 innings to open it up. So it's nice when you can save your bullpen by putting up 7 runs in the last 4 innings.
The Baltimore Orioles made a heck of a comeback today against the Yankees. They got into the Yankees bullpen, did a good job against Holder, and got a run off Conley, and tied the game at 5 going to the 9th inning, but and then in Orioles fashion, they lost it. So the Yankees pick up yet another victory, coming out on top 6-5. The Pirates, who did not play well last night in a Johnny Holstaff bullpen game against the Rockies, they gave up 2 3-run homers pretty early and were never heard from. But today, they blew up Senzatella and crushed the Rockies 14-6. Nice day for the Pittsburgh offense. You don't see them putting up 14 runs very often.
3 home runs in the 7th. Bell, Reynolds, and Marte all went deep.
And then there's the Mets and Nationals. And the Mets win at 6-4. And we're going to save some of the Nationals conversation for later on, because we've got Joe Sheehan on today.
First tweet this morning is you talking about the Nationals screwing up.
The very first inning, Adam Eaton hits a double, only has to settle for a single because he misses first base. The next guy singles. He would have scored easily. Instead, he has to hold up a third, and then they hit into a double play. It's the Nationals, folks. Joe Sheehan is with us later on, and really looking forward to that. Joe is an absolutely fabulous follow in baseball. His newsletter is just terrific, and we'll talk to him later on. Of course, Will Bernanke preceding that with CG Technology Sportsbooks. That's it for the done games. The Phillies leading the Cubs 8-3. That is in the bottom of the 7th. The Braves and Giants are tied at 2 in the top of the 5th. The Braves just tied the score. And the Angels appear to have gotten on the board with 2 runs in the bottom of the 3rd, but they are way behind the Twins, who have already gone deep 4 times and have knocked Matt Harvey out of the game 8-2. Twins leading in the bottom of the 3rd inning. And the Twins are for real. I know we're going to talk about the Indians because that's kind of your team. We'll do that with Joe. But the Twins they're just good, and they can really hit.
Dave, now I think is a great time. Share some of that insight we talked about on First Pitch with Prez, with the new pitching coach and what he's done to turn around a multitude of pitchers.
Yeah, he's added a new pitch to the Martin Perez repertoire, which is a cutter. He changed the stride on Jake Odorizzi, and Odorizzi's having the best year of his life. And, yeah, it's by the way, a pitching coach who never played professional ball, but knows what he's doing, that's for sure. All right, time for us to take a brief look. Normally, we've never got a problem doing this.
At the 2x4?
Today, it's not a 4-4, or it's more like a 2-4, but we're going to do it anyway.
1, 2, 3 into the 4.
Put them fours up. Put the fours up, I said. Do it right now.
Tonight's action is just around the bend, and the guys want to get your night off to a great start.
4.
It's the Las Vegas Sports Line's 4 at 4.
Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. Unbelievable.
Well, we could make it a 3 at 3, but we're saving the Bucks and Raptors Game 5 for later on in the WagerTalk marquee matchup. So we'll talk about the two night games in Major League Baseball, and we will begin with the Rays and the Indians. And trying to figure out who was going to pitch for Tampa, and this one was really kind of difficult because first it was going to be an opener, and then they moved Snell up a day, and then they said, well, we'll move back to Friday again. So Yarbrough is going to be in this game, but I still don't know who's starting the game for Tampa. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to play the game anyway. The Indians, well, we know it's going to start for them at least. And we'll talk more about the Indians later on when Joe's on, but it isn't good right now for this team. And their lineup is configured all wrong. It's as simple as that. It begins with the lineup being configured wrong. Here's what they should do. And I am saying I know more about it than Terry Francona. What we know, and one of the things that is a truism based on analytics, is you should have your best hitter hitting in the 2-hole, like the Angels do with Mike Trout, like the Brewers do with Christian Yelich, like several teams do with their best hitters. You want the possibility of maybe a man being on base. You also want the best hitter getting the most plate appearances. So moving them to the 2 slot, and the analytics prove this out. It's not a matter of opinion. The math is there. Well, the Indians aren't doing that. They should be moving. To me, Carlos Santana, to hell with the stolen bases. It's not that big a deal anyway. Put Carlos Santana in the leadoff spot. He's a very good on-base percentage guy who happens to also be having a very good season from an average standpoint, but he's always doing a ton of walks. Mm-hmm. And then Lindor, who is your best hitter, put him in the 2 slot. And after that, figure out what you want to do. Then what you don't do is have Carlos Gonzalez hitting cleanup on Tuesday and then designate him for assignment on Wednesday. What? And then you move Jake Bowers, who's kind of a strikeout machine, into the 4-hole. Sometimes the game just passes people by, and I'm wondering if that's the case with Francona.
Luplow in the 4-hole tonight, but he's batting Santana third, Kipnis second.
Why is Kipnis? See, here's the thing. Okay, again, this goes to the analytics. The 2-hole is supposed to be your best hitter. Kipnis?
Yeah.
Guy's hitting 210.
Well, they finally took Ramirez. I mean, Ramirez has never batted 5th before. So
no,
in the
way
last
he's
few
hitting
years,
right now, he could be hitting 8th.
Agreed.
He's just having a
196.
terrible time.
He just looks bad guaranteed he looks bad. And tonight's game, now they're putting a role as a home dog. They've only been a home dog 5 times in 2 years. They've gone 2-3 in that role, once this year and 4 times last year.
I think they're going to be home dogs again tomorrow, too, because they'll have to face Mr. Snell tomorrow.
And, you have a young pitcher who had a great first start after getting called up AAA. It's tough to have those back-to-back good starts
in that
situation,
well. Yeah. Plutko was kind of a work in progress last year. He did have an excellent first start. He'll be facing a pretty good lineup tonight in the Tampa Bay Rays. And the White Sox will be at the Astros, and this one will be interesting because we talked about this on First Pitch this morning. This is kind of I don't call it a final exam, but it's a really big test for Lucas Giolito of the White Sox. And Giolito is one of the interesting stories of this season. He's a guy who was formerly a high first-round draft pick, and this was what I was ranting about this on First Pitch this morning. This is why the MLB draft to me is a colossal bore. In the NFL draft, you got these guys sitting around and giving lots of opinions, and they will tell you straight out if they think a team blew it or got it right. They'll talk about players that they think are going to be undervalued or overvalued. It's fun. NBA draft, pretty good. The MLB draft on MLB Network is some of the worst TV you'd ever want to see. It is brutally bad. And the reason is nobody ever has a negative opinion. Every single player that's drafted in the first round is a high-ceiling guy with great character and is a terrific draft choice. Their coverage sucks, okay? It absolutely sucks. Get some people on there with opinions. And a perfect example of this would have been Lucas Giolito a few years ago, because there was really mixed opinion on him as to whether he should be a high first-round draft pick. Some scouts absolutely loved him. Others said, he might not even be a starting pitcher because he has no dominant pitch, and he's not a real hard thrower, and he was a reach. And it really looked like that was the correct opinion until the start of this season, when Lucas Giolito, I would assume at the behest of Don Cooper and others, made a radical change. He completely dumped his sinker ball, scrapped it. Doesn't throw it at all now. He's still throwing his four-seam. His slider's improved. His changeup is improved. And those two pitches are good enough so that it's making the 92, 93-mile-an-hour fastball look better than it was. And Giolito is pitching great ball for the White Sox. Tonight he gets a big test against the Astros. And, by the way, he'll be going against a highly regarded prospect, the Astros, having Corbin Martin, who's had one good start and one not good start. The Astros have the Red Sox coming in as well in a big weekend series. I don't know. If you're looking for a big dog, White Sox might not be bad tonight.
I looked something up today with the Astros losing last night, and I looked at how teams do after losing as a 300 favorite. And I was very surprised at this. The last couple years, those teams that have lost as a 300 favorite are 10-5 the next game, plus 1 unit. Basically break even. They've been a 2-1 favorite in that role after losing. So not quite the record I thought. I thought it would be a higher record where teams lose after that big loss. But hey, it's baseball. Was that okay? They just left the bases loaded. The Angels left the bases loaded and struck out. But and 6-9 on the run line. So it's actually been a positive playing the dog on the run line after that big upset.
Time for us to check out what's happening behind the counter. Will Bernanke joins us from CG Technology Sportsbooks. Hi, Will. How are you?
Oh, great, Dave. How you doing today?
Good. We've got a number of things to run through, so we'll begin with the NBA first, and we'll start with tonight's Raptors-Bucks Game 5. And the one thing I've seen here is that the under appears to have been getting play, and that number's dropped considerably from where it opened. What's happening with the side in total?
Yeah, as far as the side, just last maybe 20 minutes has been Bucks money coming in. So right now, it's been money on the Bucks, and as far as the total goes, money's been on the under, and the money line though is coming in on the Raptors. So that's kind of a conflict here. We got money on the Bucks, but the money coming in on the Raptors money line.
So it sounds like the ideal result for you is a high-scoring game with Milwaukee winning but not covering.
Yeah, exactly. Going right down to the wire, 1-point game with 3 seconds left, and the ball's in the air.
How about look-aheads? We know the Warriors are playing in the finals again. Nothing new there. What have you got in terms of look-aheads for either opponent in the finals?
Yeah, the back and forth with this one, considering how injured really is Kawhi Leonard, if he is hurt at all. That's the big question here. But let's just say all things, that he's fine. If they play the Raptors, I'm going to just start with the Game 1 line in the series price. Warriors should be a favorite, I think a 1-point favorite, maybe 1.5, and the series price about minus 400 range. And if they do play the Bucks, again, they're on the road for no matter who they play. They won't have home court, so about $2 favorite against the Bucks, and the Bucks will probably be favored in Game 1, 1.5, 2 range.
Interesting with Golden State favored, even though the Bucks will be a couple-point favorite at home and have 4 home games against Golden State. Let's turn our attention to Memorial Day on Monday. Lord Stanley, the NHL Blues and the Bruins, Tell us about Game 1, the series, and